fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I'm live once again, man. It is the night before or the morning of. I'm going to repeat. The night before or the morning of. Jake Paul takes on Anthony Joshua to challenge himself to be a legitimate fighter. Look what they got going back there. Thursday night, I tell you. And he's definitely chose the right one. Anthony Joshua. A guy that, he hasn't won every fight. He's came up short. You know, he's made a lot of money. He's taken some punches. He's took some damage, right? But at the same token, everything that I just mentioned about Anthony Joshua, he's done that shit back to others. A lot more than others has done that to him. He has 4 losses, sure. But at the same time, Jake Paul don't know shit about that. And you know the thing is, man, I've listened to the comments you guys had, AJ's comments, and this is the sport you sign up for. That's why I love the sport. And I don't love the sport because you could DIE, right? But at the same time, it shows you the seriousness of what you plan to do. You don't come in there with some gloves and a gum shield without a game plan. If you don't have a game plan and you only want to take punishment, that is the result you may run into. You may run into death, okay? Because I could tell you how many times somebody got hit and they went to sleep and they never woke up. What the hell is this dude doing? Moron. Anyway. But this is the last night, so let's talk about it. You know, let's talk about the weigh-in. Let's talk about the remarks. Let's talk about Tyson Fury. He always finds a way to talk some shit before an AJ fight. Is he retired or is he out of, or has he came out of retirement yet? That's what I want to know. Eunice Butterball in the building. Hello, Counterpunch to you. Aaron Edson. Good afternoon. Or good evening, really. Because shit, it's 9:03 here. And keep in mind, Miami time, that's Eastern. So that's ahead of me. Okay? Mama Lou, Counterpunch to you. Rest in peace, Jake Paul. Man, I hope not. You know what's crazy? I hope this gives him a rush. You know what I mean? Because he's in danger. Who is this? Ed Camo Boy. Good morning to you. Because I know it's 3 a.m. in the UK, right? Well, yeah, in the UK area, should I say. 3 or 4 in the morning over there. Good morning to the peeps across the pond. Good evening to the people that are here. The weigh-in's finished. We don't have to worry about that shit anymore, any longer. You know, Rich, I thought that was bitch made, but that could have been worse. They could have been a lot more involved in that weigh-in, you know what I mean? They could have added a rehydration clause. They could have, well, you can't do this and do that. Nah. And AJ looks good just the way he is. And whenever he gets smaller, he does better. He does a lot better. So at any point, I don't know why he still feels. Mr. Pre-fight hype. Do you think we will have fighter AJ or an exhibition AJ? Well, here's the thing. He says he's gonna knock him the fuck out. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that, and everything that he said, now he has to deliver on what he said. See, all Jake Paul really has to do, people, is show up and survive, not show up and show out. Do we really expect Jake Paul? Anything Jake Paul does should impress me, especially if he catches AJ with a punch or something. That should impress me. Why? Because he doesn't have high expectations. I mean, there's a lot of people that think Jake Paul's going to win only based off corruption and bullshit like that. You know, that's the only way that you will see him winning, is because he's supposed to win. He ain't going to win because he's good or better than AJ. My money's on AJ, Lowell. XK shots, counterpunch to you. AJ taking a tuna $80 million fight versus Paul. And there were higher stipulations. Eddie Hearn did say if he did not make the weight, it was going to be some shit. I repeat, if he did not make the weight, it was going to be some shit. He was going to be penalized deeply. Okay? So that being said, you know, I'm glad he made it. And he was 2 pounds under that. He was 243.4 pounds. 243 pounds, 0.4. So he was well under that limit. He's good. He's good. He is good. AJ all day. Jake Paul only wins because he paid them to lose. Oh, he's getting pissed off now. You know, we can talk about the lawsuit, the cease and desist letter that he sent to Deontay Wilder. I'm like, well, what and why would Deontay Wilder affect you to that degree? You know, and that kind of tells you, though, also, if he's sending those type of letters, he does not like people saying certain things. You know, and it's like, well, if it's not true, why are you putting that much energy into it? You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about, and there's nothing in the contract between AJ and me, well, show it to us. Matter of fact, show us the Mike Tyson contract. Show us that shit. Show us that there was never anything in that particular contract. But keep in mind, any contract you see doesn't mean the contract that they wrote, because there could be other pages that were denacted from that, right? Redacted from that. What it do, Kurt? What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Fury is jealous of AJ taking the 80 million fight with Paul. Well, I would be too, because how much did he make for fighting Francis Ngannou? What, 30 million? 30 million don't got shit on 80. And he knows it. Just like 94,000 don't got shit on 100,000 in Wembley. That's why Carl Froch is still butthurt. He was mad because AJ did that shit first. There's other people that broke that record. He mad because AJ did it first, and AJ did it last with Danny Dubois. The only shitty thing about that fight was the outcome. Because what did Danny Dubois do after that? You know what I mean? What did he do after that? He didn't do shit. After the AJ win, they snatched him away from the Joseph Parker fight, and they threw his ass in there with Usyk, and Usyk destroyed him. You know what I mean? I told you that shit would happen. So that was the only bad thing about that night. You know what I mean? A lot of people are still getting over that. My girl, Karma Serene, she's still getting over that. You know, Lady Sean, they were crying and shit. You know? That shit was just as bad as when Andy Ruiz did it. I remember it was people that didn't even really like AJ that were British, that were like, dude, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt literally sick to my stomach. You know what I mean? Because of how that fight went. So yeah, people love AJ, bro. They may not want to admit it. They may get into beefs or they may quarrel amongst themselves. But when it comes to an outsider beating Anthony together, I kind of like that actually. That shows big true patriot, isn't it? Right? If you guys from the UK, you should know. You know what I mean? Even if like you're going to be rooting for the UK fighter, you know. And I've learned over the last 6 or 7 years about, you know, camaraderie amongst British overall. You know, needless to say, I mean, I work a lot of British people. You know, I worked with Lenny James for a few years, and he taught me a lot about British culture, you know, along with you guys. So I appreciate you guys, you know, showing me love in the UK, which you guys now have stretched out past the USA as my highest and my biggest audience. So you guys have took the #1 seat on Counterpunch Boxing News because I have many audiences around the world. You guys are the biggest. So congratulations once for topping that, for beating out USA. And that should show you something about boxing, and it should show you something about USA fans. You know, that, you know, is not a nice or a big hub for boxing anymore. That's why when I was talking to you guys about the fights, the Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis fights, the David Tua versus Lennox Lewis fights, all of the fights overall when I was young, you know, and this was before YouTube, you know, I wish that I had a platform like this then, because that's when America was on fire, because you all know you had Holyfield, you had Michael Moore, you had Mike Tyson, you had George Foreman, you had Buster Douglas, you know what I mean? You had Riddick Bowe. You know, you had so many heavyweights, and that's just heavyweights. I'm not talking about USA boxing overall. Overall, bro, you had so many people that fought over here from the Americas. And let's not even talk about Mexico and south of the border, south of the Americas, South America. You know what I mean? We had Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez. We had a lot of these fighters that were just talented, that were exciting, that I watched all the time. I watched boxing so much back then, it was crazy. I probably watch boxing more then than I do now. Even that because it's some hard, as you guys know. I don't work every card. I don't go live on every card. You know what I mean? And because a lot of times I'm just not enthusiastic, because I just keep it real. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not a clown. I'm not a payaso. I just don't, like, if I don't see the value in watching, I don't watch it. You know what I mean? I just don't. If I did the shit full time, yeah. But I mean, I think based on my video count, I do enough to qualify for any full-time benefits. If YouTube was giving out benefits, I would qualify for them shits, because I have done over 15,000 videos, and I don't think a lot of people have done that. Probably somebody that has beaten me out, probably someone like Ellie Setback, and he uploads every fucking hour or something like that. Ellie Setback reporting. Hold on a second, guys. Let me drop this off. So I wish I had a platform like I have now. But YouTube didn't exist in 2000. Matter of fact, YouTube, I don't remember when YouTube even, what was it, 2004? Tell you what, I remember when YouTube came out, I was working at a call center. And what the hell? There we go. So this call center was like, dude, if you want to watch videos and you want to watch them from the internet, go to YouTube. That's YOU. It was like YouTube, and keep in mind, tube, I don't know, for anyone that's probably 20 or whatever, or 20 or younger, the word tube comes from the television. So when you say, hey, what's on the tube, that's what that meant. A lot of people, like, the hell is a tube? Well, the tube was a television. That was actually the element that made the television work. The tube inside the television. AJ will revenge for Mike Tyson loss. That would be pretty dope. I love that idea, because that's that avenging shit. Yeah, that would be dope. Him knocking him out and then going hugging at Mike Tyson. I did it for you, Mike. I did it for you, baby. I thank you, AJ. I always thought she was a fucking champion. I just thought she was a champ. I always thought she was a champ. I couldn't hit that motherfucker because I did sign in the gate. I did it for you, baby. You've been my idol forever. I love you, Mike. That's why I knocked that motherfucker out. I love you too, AJ. You a motherfucker. You Malcolm. It's gonna be my nigga. I can see that, though. Definitely. Yeah, dude. That's crazy. Crazy stuff. Crazy. Tyson kept biting his gloves. He kept biting his gloves because he couldn't punch. I mean, people caught that shit. If you couldn't catch that, I don't know what to tell you. If you couldn't catch that, I don't know what to tell you. Because he had to bite his gloves, because he had to do something besides punch him, because he couldn't punch him. And since he couldn't punch him, that's what he had to do. That's what I bite my glove. I have a biting sensation. I'm like, dude, cut it out. Stop the cap. Stop the malarkey. Stop the baloney. Stop the baloney. Right? But yeah, man, that would be dope. That would actually work for me. I would like that idea. I would like the idea of AJ knocking out Jake Paul, because people are going to look at it like that anyway. You chose an older guy to fight, and understand, when Mike first signed on to fight Jake Paul, the shit was postponed. And it was postponed due to the fact that Mike he had to be rushed to the hospital. I think he had ulcers or some shit like that. So yeah, it was bad, man. It wasn't nothing to play around with. So it is what it is. And then when he actually fought him, I think you seen not only an older version of Mike or whatever, you seen a more of a damaged one. When you get older, you heal slower. It takes you a while to shake back from something, if you were in your 20s, 30s, or 40s even, to overcome. Mike Tyson revenge from Muhammad Ali back in the day. Yeah, he did that. He did that. Hold on a second. It must be the most frustrating thing ever, getting hit constantly but unable to land anything back. Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Because you have that's a lot of money though. And for Mike to make that money again, I think it was all a bargain. It was all like a, you know, um, how do you say, that was conditioned, and you look at it, Jake Paul doesn't really get mad about a lot of shit, but what he gets mad about, you can tell it struck a nerve. Like, there was somebody else that he threatened to sue. Remember Piers Morgan? Remember the interview he had with Piers, and he jumped off alive with him and talked a bunch of shit before he jumped off when he heard that Morgan mentioned that it was a possible, fixed fight, and he got all pissed off and he got off. Yeah, he did the same shit that he did with Wilder. So, but understand, Piers Morgan has a platform. It's huge. Deontay Wilder is an athlete, right? When a public figure or public figures say something like that, he knows it's damaging his image. That's what it's about. Yeah, the British guy, Piers Morgan. He asked him, are you afraid that people may think it's fake? Hey, listen, it's not fake. That's some bitch shit you said. I'm jumping off of here. The only reason I showed up in the first place, No, you're probably talking about Hat Man or somebody like that. I'm not in Africa. In fact, I've never been to Africa. I was going to go once upon a time. Sure was. Sure was going to go once upon a time. I remember watching the Paul made red face. Yeah, he was pissed off. He was pissed off about that one, man, because when you, I guess, challenge or ask questions like that, and Jake's supposed to be the guy that can self-promote, clap back, counterpunch, you know what I mean? Verbally inclined to answer questions, good ones, bad ones, you know what I mean? They don't all have to be ass-kissing questions. That's one of the reasons I like Jake Paul, because you come at Jake Paul with some cracking or roasting, he's gonna roast you right back. So at that point, I don't understand why he gets so mad over the fixed fights. He knows people are talking about it and he doesn't like to hear it. Well, if you don't think it's true, just shrug that shit off. It's almost like this, right? Just picture, men in particular. You're a normal heterosexual man. You like women, and someone calls you gay. It's like if you get pissed off to the degree that, no, I'm not. That's kind of like, it does make you question, like, why are you reacting in that way if you know you're not gay? Okay, just like this, Jake, if you know you're not making up or, you know, putting on fake fights, why are you getting so mad about people asking you about fake fights? It's maybe because those fixed fights look fixed. They may look fake and you know they look fake. You know what I mean? But that's why people, I think, the same shit that Jake Paul is getting mad over, he may pay the price for. Meaning, this AJ fight, I thought about it and I've rationalized it and all that shit. I don't think that Anthony Joshua, with the money that he's made, I don't think that he would do it. I don't think that he would take a dive like that or put himself in a situation where he's just selling out for money. Even though you heard him say keyword like it's about the money, I mean, he still has to deliver to show us what it is, but this is what I want to believe. I didn't think you were gay because you were in Brokeback Mountain. I never fucking seen Brokeback Mountain. I do have a story about that shit though. It's hilarious. AJ doesn't seem like the type of guy. I don't think he is, and I think he's going in to flatten Jake Paul to show people, yo, he fucked up. He wanted a challenge. He got a challenge, and he's going to see how he shouldn't have took the challenge. Bars. You know what I'm saying? I think AJ could beat Jake using only a jab. Well, I don't think that's good enough. I know he could. I mean, if he's smart, he would. If this was a boxing match and it like a regular one with a regular ranked fighter, yeah, he should keep behind the jab, fight smart, get some rounds up under him. You know what I mean? He ain't fought in a while. That's what he should do. Yeah, I agree. But this ain't a fighter of that caliber. This ain't that type of fight. This is a money grab fight. This is a fight to show that AJ still knows how to knock a mother sucker out, and he's getting paid a handsome amount of money for it. He's made all the stipulations, all the concessions, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. You know what I mean? He's just getting paid a lot of money for it. So a guy like, look, AJ's laughing. I'm gonna fuck you up in that. He's laughing about it because he knows when I hit you, I'm gonna hurt you. I just heard it. I just hope he don't permanently hurt that boy. He's still a kid though, bro. But he's a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? He is a grown ass man. Imagine if AJ just jabs him for 8 rounds, he destroy him with 0 damage. No, I mean, it would be damage. I mean, he would fuck up his face. And keep in mind, Jake Paul's already suffered the bruising of heavyweights anyway, so he knows what it's like to get hit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had to mute it because the damn music was loud. You know, I don't want to give Elvis Presley any of my revenue. Atoma versus Franklin, who wins? Atoma wins. I mean, because Toma has all the advantages. That's an easy prediction. You know what I mean? I just want to see if Moses can take a punch. I think this is a barometer fight. You know, where is he at? I think Dillian White chins Jake. I mean, yeah, I think Dillian White would chin him too, but then you know what? That's actually a pretty good fight though. You know, all bullshit aside, everybody knows that Dillian White is a damaged fighter. He can't take certain shots. You know he can't take the uppercut. And I don't even know it's the uppercut no more because he didn't get hit with the uppercut with Moses Atoma. He got hit with every fucking thing else, and he was wobbled and shook from that, right? So since he was doing that, he may not be able to take a fucking thing. Dillian White, bro, and it is crazy because Dillian was a monster at one point. And everybody knew he was kind of chinny and he couldn't take that type of pressure to that chin in that area by the uppercut, right? Everybody knew that. But, you know, he was able to still take some type of damage. You know what I mean? He was still able to take certain punches. Some punches. But, nah, man. He might get knocked out. Jake Paul could redeem himself by fighting someone like him. Because what Jake could do, he could get knocked out by AJ and then say, you know what, I want Dillian to body snatch a White. But if he does this is my advice to Jake Paul. Stop fucking moving up and down. Stop fluctuating. Because it's like, okay, you go to this weight, to that weight, to this weight, to that weight. Keep a certain weight. And I know he's young, and younger you are, you can make weight like that or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if he really wants to be a fighter and he wants people to take him seriously, start fighting these guys that are actually meaningful. You know what I mean? Start fighting these guys that have been tested, you know, that are legitimate fighters. Stop fighting, you know, don't fight guys only because it makes you filthy rich. Fight guys that gives you or makes you rich in respect. Yeah? Respect. You know what I mean? Fighting someone like that, like, you know, yeah, AJ, that's a money fight. So who wouldn't fight AJ? Hell, I'd fight AJ for $5 million. You know what I mean? And I like AJ, but I would fight that motherfucker toe to toe for $5 million. $5 million, me and AJ fighting. Hell, I think I'm a better fight than Jake Paul, honestly, because I got better stats. I got a better understanding of the game. And he ain't gonna play with none of us. I hope he don't. You know, but at the same time, man, shit, you know, fight one of those other guys if you're Jake Paul. You know, fight Dillian the body snatcher White. Give him a few million. Fight Derek Chisora. You can't go wrong with fighting Derek Chisora. Yeah, but Derek ain't gonna play with you like Mike Tyson is going. You know what I mean? He's gonna come to take your head off. And you know, all you got to do is pay him. Give him about $4 million. Derek Chisora will fight you tomorrow. Derek Chisora will fight Jake Paul tomorrow. If Jake Paul, look, don't say 10. I'd fight him for $10 million. I'll fight him tomorrow for $10 million. Give him my money. I'll fight you right now. I don't need a training camp for you. He'll fight him right then. You mad, bro? Oh, you mad? Give me my $10 million. Absolutely, he would. You're damn straight he would. Yeah, man. You're damn straight he would. So, no, man. Jake Paul could come back, but he needs to be in one weight class. If he's gonna go to cruiserweight, stay in cruiserweight. You know, because he's only 216 right now. Because you know what I mean? And that was a surprise because he came in against Mike Tyson at what, 227? the same weight class, the same weight as Alexander Usyk came in. So it was surprising, but it's also smart too on Jake's behalf because Jake knows I gotta move. And I think Jake's moral victory will be, I want to survive against Anthony Joshua. That's why I'm worried about Jake, because that's his objective. If AJ starts hitting him and hurting him and you got multiple knockdowns and shit like that, that's just more damage. You know what I mean? And one thing you don't want to get peppered and beat up and punished round after round. That's how deaths occur. Deaths, mostly people, they ain't by single knockouts. That's what people don't get. Deaths are not about single knockouts. You know, the deaths occur when you get beat round 1, beat round 2, beat round 3, punished round 4, battered round 5. You know what I mean? When you constantly take punishment, it's accumulative. You know what I mean? That's how people end up, man, I don't feel too good. They're throwing up. They go into a coma, their brain swells, and they die. That's what happens. So it's not just this one thing that happens, bow, you know, you get knocked. Actually, a knockout is putting someone out of their misery because they're not still trying to fight back because they're knocked the fuck out. So it's almost like, hey, you're saving me, right? You're sparing me. You see what I'm saying? You're sparing me at that point. So I don't want Jake to get in there with AJ and AJ shit. Bow! That's not cool. Because understand, he's getting hit by somebody that he's never been hit with before, but he's in a weight class that he's never fucking been in like that. And Mike Tyson, I love him, but that shit don't count. It don't count. And like I told you guys yesterday on that live stream, it's us, you know? So what if he takes fixed fights? He don't, you know, he wants to be known as a boxer. Now he's in there with a real one. You know? That's that. He's in there with a real boxer. And since he's in there with a real boxer, you got to look at it like, okay, what are you going to do with this real boxer? How is this going to play out? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, Jake, he needs to show us something. But don't show us that you can take a beating, right? Don't show us you can take a beating and end up hurting yourself. Because nobody needs that type of shit. Nobody needs that type of shit. Seriously. But I think moral victories is something that he's looking for because, I mean, even the way he's acting, I mean, he's, you know, he's still promoting, he's still clowning like, oh, this is a fucking game. And AJ's laughing, but you can tell AJ's laughing in a different way. Like, I'm going to fucking knock this kid senseless. And hey, and I know people want to see Jake Paul knocked off. It's almost like this. If you guys ever seen, I know if you guys ever seen Pulp Fiction, for the people that seen Pulp Fiction, give me a number 1. For people that never seen Pulp Fiction, give me a number 2. Number 1, you've seen Pulp Fiction. Number 2, you've never seen Pulp Fiction. Okay, we got one. Okay. Yeah, we got to get interactive up in here. Okay, Pulp Fiction, one. Okay, I seen 1, 2. 1, 2 in the deck. 1. Okay, so that means we are familiar, most of us, right? One on YouTube, 2 never. Okay. So you guys are familiar with that's Quentin Tarantino film. But before that, there was a film, I think a year before that, it was a film called 4 Rooms. Now you guys let me know if you ever seen 4 Rooms. By 1, yes, or 2, no. If you guys ever seen 4 Rooms, 1 for yes or 2 for no. Two. Okay. 2. Okay, there's 3 2s. Yeah, I was expecting that. That's why I asked about Pulp Fiction first. But understand, 4 Rooms. Okay, that's 3 number 2s. I don't know what the hell 4 is. Well, 4 Rooms was a movie by Quentin Tarantino, and it had some crazy actors in it. Like you had Madonna, you had Antonio Banderas, you had Bruce Willis, you had Harvey Keitel, you had Tim Roth. You had a lot of the man. 4 Rooms. It's a classic, bro. Yeah. Did you hear Luke Partridge call out AJ? I heard him say that he was going to knock AJ out. Is that a call out you were talking about? But you know, of course he was supposed to. You know. It was a comedy. Right? It's, you know, it had a matter of fact, Naomi Ryder was in it. It was other people in it, but it was a lot of people in it. Okay. Because it was 4 stories about 4 rooms in a hotel on New Year's Eve. And it was a scene in the movie where Bruce Willis was in it, Quentin Tarantino was in it. What's that guy's name? Something Calderon. Real, famous actor. I can't remember his first name. But anyhow, they made a bet that if this guy's lucky Zippo lighter would light 10 times, he would get a car. But if it didn't light 10 times in a row, he would get his pinky chopped off. So they couldn't chop his pinky off, so they wanted the bellhop, Tim Roth, is it? Yeah, Tim Roth. They wanted him to do it. And he was like, well, what's in it for me? So they gave him like, I think $1,000 to do it. Right? And the point is, they asked him, they said, look, listen, nobody wants to see Phil, that was the character's name. Nobody wants to see Phil lose a finger, but everybody wants to see it cut off, right? So, so that was the point. Like, everybody wants to see Jake Paul knocked out, but nobody wants to see him fucking knocked out and never get the fuck up. You know what I mean? I want to see him knocked out. I don't want to see him knocked off. Okay? I don't want to see this kid hurt to the point, you know what I mean, he's not the same. Because he's still a kid, bro. He's still a kid. He's a cocky-ass rich kid that, and made a lot of money. That's, trying to, how do you say, trying to make it in the world of sports. As easy as it is now, because all you have to do is, talk a little shit and have some personality on top of, be hated by a few million people, and you can become a star in the sport of boxing. Right? So, CJ 1977, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. We need you to be the Dice Man. Yeah. Aaron, you already know, man. That's a classic movie, bro. If you guys haven't seen Four Rooms, I suggest watching that shit at around this time, especially New Year's. That would be dope. If you're staying at home, that would be a perfect movie to look up. Four Rooms. This shit's hilarious. Perfect movie to, because it has a lot of people in it, right? Quad Life. What's up, brother? Quad Life 35 in the building. Counterpunch to you. Pick up in the lobby. Cool. Kurt, is Netflix involved in boxing show now? Yeah, I mean, they had Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which I forgot all about that one. I do recall, though, after Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. got that check, they deported his ass. Hey, here's a gift from the USA. Now take your ass back to Mexico. Damn. Cold. He says AJ is the Dice Man. Yeah, he is actually. He is the Dice Man. Mama Lou, what it do? Prime Sanchez versus Prime Hunter. Prime Frank Sanchez? Frank Sanchez is still in his prime, the last I know. I mean, look, people. Let me tell you something. Frank is like 29. He might be 30, maybe. You know what I mean? But he's Cuban, so you know how that goes. Netflix is in competition with DAZN. I think it is now. But here's the crazy thing though. DAZN, it's DAZN's fault. And let me tell you a little story about DAZN for a minute. Tell you about these cunts. DAZN would have been the Netflix of sports had they not made the decision to go against their own brand, their own model. See, DAZN was subscription based like Netflix. DAZN in America especially was supposed to be billed as the sports of Netflix. All you need is a subscription. You can get all of this included with your subscription. That's why pay-per-view's dead. Canelo brought his ass back into the picture and he demanded pay-per-view. Therefore, they came and brought back pay-per-view, which killed their credibility as that model. You know what I mean? And I think people should realize that. If Al Heyman was smart, he would go with Netflix, but he's too greedy because his mindset is about pay-per-view with the pay-per-view model because he's worried about all the money that they used to make, not knowing money changes with ideas. right? People get tired of that shit. Just like Blockbuster. Blockbuster was a brand. Okay, the brand of the system, the overall mindset and model of Blockbuster is dead. It died, and people didn't want to go ahead. Bars, and it's gone. Just like the Zone, they we'll do this and we'll do that. They're fucking with their own brand. Is that why we didn't see the Jai and Cena fight? I'm not sure, man. Not sure about that one. What makes Sanchez the Raz Agal boxing? Raz Agal. I don't know what that means. What's Raz Agal boxing? It says Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix, but turned it down. Well, I mean, that's them. Now look where Blockbuster is. They're not. It's a Batman and Green Arrow villain. Ah, okay, gotcha. Sin Cara versus Jai Apataya fight because it wasn't on the Zone but UFC channel. I don't know what was up with that. I think I don't know what that was about. And a lot of more people should have saw that because Jai Apataya broke another part of somebody's body when he punched him. How would Zerto do at heavyweight? I heard he wants Usyk. You heard he wants Usyk. Usyk would destroy Zerto's big ass. Even if he walks around at 230, he will still get destroyed. He'll get mauled. But hey, why not? Because I think what'll happen with him, as soon as he gets his ass whooped, he's going to do exactly what he did at light heavyweight. When somebody taxes his ass, he's going to run to another division. Because he's not going to want to fight everybody there. Because Zerto knows what his limitations are. He got beat by Bivol. He ran. He went to cruiserweight. He's going to get beat by David Benavidez. He's going to run to heavyweight. You see what I mean? You see the pattern, right? He beat some good fighters of cruiserweight though. Joe Smith, yeah, he did. I mean, Dorothy Coles. He has a good resume. It's just my thing about him is he shouldn't be at a point where. Here we go. Dorticus was on his prime. On his prime, will eat Zerto like breakfast. Zerto is a coward. Yeah, well, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I think that let me go this way. Cool. Cool. There we go. Chicken shit Zerto running faster than Usain Bolt from Alpataya. Zerto though. How old is Zerto Ramirez is though? Because I mean he's been around for a while. But yeah, Zerto don't want none, man. Zerto wants winnable fights. You know what I mean? He's made some money though. I mean, he's a professional fighter. You know, I don't think at any point. Pride is something that I think people need to understand about this situation. When you're prideful, the last thing you want to do is get beat by your rival. Your rival could be someone that always associates you and them. That's your rival. Because if there's a precedent, if there is a interest, especially another champion at a weight class, that's your competitor. That's like, that's how it's supposed to go. Hold on a second. Plug this shit in. So that's how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to fight your rival. And if you're afraid to fight your rival, it's going to tell. Floyd, for the last part of his career, the fight with Manny. He should have fought Manny a long time ago. But it was pride, But from his team, it was actually fear. But they didn't know if they could actually beat Manny Pacquiao. I think they were all relieved when he finally got knocked out by his other rival, Juan Manuel Marquez, which I thought that's chicken shit because Floyd more than likely would have beat Manny. Because everybody's saying, well, if Manny in 2010 would have fought the Floyd from, why would you want Manny in 2010 to fight a Floyd from 2015? That doesn't even make sense. Because they're around the same age. Manny Pacquiao was born in 1978. Okay, December 18th. Floyd Mayweather was born February 24th, 1977. You see what I mean? One was born a year behind the other. So for people saying, oh man, Manny Pacquiao, he waited to fight him. He did wait to fight him. So if they would have fought in 2009 or 10, that would have been a better fight. They probably would have been fighting at, I don't know, maybe welterweight, because Manny did have a lot of catch weights. Any news about Parker B. Sample? I have none, bro. Parker's still posting shit, living his life, chilling, going on safaris and shit, taking long walks with his family. That's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? That fight was such a disappointment. Well, the fight itself to me wasn't a disappointment. The referee was. The referee was a disappointment. Because the problem with the whole ordeal was he stopped a very competitive fight, and he stopped it in the 11th round. You stopped the fight like that, you didn't know how the outcome was going to go. You know what that shit reminds me of? That reminds me of you remember when Jaime Lannister was fighting Ned Stark, you know, in King's Landing, and somebody stabbed fucking Ned in the back in the leg with a spear? That's the same shit. So that fight wasn't no longer, you know, they stopped the fight over some bullshit. They stepped in. You know? Cruiserweights need no, they don't need to have title fights only, but I think at a certain point of time, you know, because I mean, you have to fight the fighters to make your name worth of shit. But there should be an undisputed champion there, and that undisputed champion should reign to show that he is a true, legitimate, undisputed champion. You know, so hey man, I'm about to jump off of here because the signal is about to get bad. So before that happens, I am going to wish you guys a good night, a great morning, and I will see you guys tomorrow night or later in the evening for the ones that are across the pond. You guys from the UK, get some sleep. Okay, because that fight ain't going to start until maybe about 10 p.m. Eastern, or maybe even 11 Eastern. So that's 4 to 5 in the morning for you guys. So keep in mind, get some sleep. So you'll be up to see AJ pepper Jake. But until then, guys, be blessed, be safe, and everyone has been counterpunched. Peace!